All right. What is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today for a rare Thursday appearance here, doing a video on the upcoming WWE's edition of Monday Night Raw that's going to be coming to you on Netflix on 11/10 of 2025. I thought that last week was jam-packed, but next week, this Monday, we're going to be having the return of John Cena. This Monday Night Raw should honestly be built around all of John Cena. Of course, they're kicking off the Last Time Is Now tournament for competitors to join in and try and be the last opponent of John Cena on the December edition of Saturday Night's Main Event that's going to be coming to you live from Washington, D.C. Everyone wants the limelight of being John Cena's last opponent. Everybody wants the chance to be the guy who puts John Cena into the coffin and says basically goodbye. With this tournament feature, I know that honestly, if you go to the World Cup that they ran at Crown Jewel a few years ago, it was won by Shane McMahon, who wasn't even a competitor in the tournament. He basically just took the Miz's place in the finale for him to win the whole tournament. I think it throws out The Rock from being the last competitor to face John Cena. That was a big match. That was a big dream. Of course, a rematch of WrestleMania 28 as well as WrestleMania 29. The match that was so big, it was only once in a lifetime. And then they ran it again the next year. I don't even remember what the tagline was for WrestleMania 29 when they just basically did Rock versus Cena once again. I don't know if it was just too big. We made too much money last year. We got to go out and we basically got to make this money again. But we ran the Springfield Monday Night Raw, which honestly was really funny to hear on the Kevin Nash podcast, where basically Kevin Nash talked about Springfield was a dump back in the 90s when he used to be on WWE TV as Diesel. It was like a spot that they had to go to because it just was small. And they could fill the place and make some money running the show. And I think they ran it as a favor to John Cena as sort of like his hometown back where he played high school football back in the day. I don't know if maybe he had like his graduation ceremony from high school there or something like that. But WWE normally doesn't run there unless it's like a house show or anything like that. But I really don't know what to expect from John Cena on this edition of Monday Night Raw. Is he just showing up to Boston to basically kick this tournament off? He's the one who made the video basically explaining that there's going to be people from WWE. There's going to be people that don't even work here. I guess they're trying to make us think that like Edge or Chris Jericho is going to show up to be a part of this tournament because of their past rivalries that they had with John Cena in the past. Of course, Chris Jericho was one of John Cena's first opponents on the Monday Night Raw brand when he came over and he became like the flagship, like what Cody Rhodes is, or what like Hulk Hogan used to be back in the day. When he was taking the place, he got swapped with Batista, and they basically were saying, this is the future of WWE. We need him in main events that people are going to believe in. I remember he had a series of matches against Jericho, and I think Jericho left, not because of those matches, but it was right before him leaving WWE for a period of time. And then I think after the Jericho matches is when Cena stepped it up and he was having matches against Kurt Angle. I don't think that that John Cena is just coming in to basically wave the flag saying we are kicking off this tournament. I don't think he's going to be there, shaking hands with Nakamura or shaking hands with Damian Priest, wishing them luck in this tournament. I think that there is still a storyline. We are basically a month away from Survivor Series. John Cena is going to have a match featured somewhere on this card. The heavily rumored match was it was going to be Dominic Mysterio putting the Intercontinental Championship on the line against John Cena. We had a returning Rey Mysterio last week. Sort of made us think that it would be like Dominic versus Rey, maybe one of the last times in San Diego where it's 619 Rey Mysterio, Booyaka, Booyaka, like they're sort of put hand in hand because that's where the Mysterios were from. I think Rey is living in Las Vegas now, but I think that would be like a huge match for them to have. Rey, he was supposed to have a match against El Grande Americano at WrestleMania 41. He ended up getting injured in a tag match on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. He ended up being replaced by the debuting Rey Fenix. And we haven't seen him since. If Rey isn't going to wrestle, I guess storyline wise, we could play off of like the King of the Luchadors that Dominic has been calling himself, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. That one doesn't really draw a line to John Cena because Cena's never had the Intercontinental Championship. He's had the United States Championship. He's definitely had the WWE belt. He's definitely had the World Heavyweight. I don't really see them just being like, oh, Cena's never had this belt. Let's just let him win this before it's all said and done. Like it's some wish list that he's always had. Of course, if you go back to when Braun Breaker and Sheamus were wrestling on Saturday Night's Main Event last year, that was a big storyline for Sheamus last year that he had never won the Intercontinental Championship. And they were saying things like he wants to win this belt before it's all said and done so he can claim that he has won every belt in WWE. So is Rey basically going to say like, hey, if you think you're all of these things, I thought he put this to bed by basically saying like, you are not Blue Demon, you're not Eddie Guerrero. I don't even think he put himself into that equation. But I mean, if he would have said like, you're not as good as me, I think it would have been on right there. But maybe, Rey comes out next week in the Garden and basically says, something to the fact of like, if you think you're so good, why don't you fight the greatest that WWE has ever had? And then John Cena comes out and Cena's going to take the fight for Rey Mysterio. And maybe that's how they get it. But if not, John has to find another match for Survivor Series. And I think there's nothing bigger than, going in there and, fighting along the lines of Jey Uso as well as CM Punk. I just don't know how you really tie him into this storyline. Cena, as of right now, has, draws to Cody Rhodes because they fought side by side after their match at Survivor Series. They fight Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank. Is that what that match was? I know. No. Money in the Bank, I think, is when Cena teamed with Logan Paul, but I think they flipped the switch. Maybe they did that on a Raw or a SmackDown where they teamed up. I think Cena's actually only had TV matches twice this year. I think he had a tag match, and I think he had the singles match against Sami Zayn, which was the open challenge for the United States title on a SmackDown, but it was his last SmackDown. I think they were in Quebec for that one, and Sammy was saying it was all full circle because he was able to help Cena out the way that Cena helped him out when he made his debut on Raw back in the day, even though he dislocated his shoulder, doing his entrance and getting excited when he got into the ring. But then again, you're making your debut on Monday Night Raw. I think all of us are going to be a little excited to get there. But I think that's the best case scenario. Ever since, Cena's been on this quest of one last go round. We saw him fight in the Elimination Chamber. So people who say he can't wrestle at War Games because of the fact that he's going to mess up his pretty little Hollywood face if something was to happen inside of the match. I think John Cena, when he was wrestling, we're just going to say every night for when WWE was running a really big house show market, and Cena was wrestling, 3 to 4 times a night. A lot of those matches on house shows were steel cage matches, were tables matches, matches that were really easy to plan. They didn't have to do a ton. The fans would eat up what was going on inside of the match. I think that Cena knows his way around a cage. Anything honestly could happen in the match. Something goes crazy and he does bust himself open. Cena's a wrestler. He's been here before. This isn't some like celebrity coming in for one night. He knows what he's doing. I think he could be safe. I need to draw the lines. I just don't need Cena running out there and just saying like me and CM Punk are best of friends, because the last time we saw these guys together was, of course, when they went over to Saudi Arabia and they had the championship match. And at that time, John Cena was still portraying a heel. And then, of course, we got, the CM Punk coming out there as the rapper, laying down his beats. And, CM Punk called out John Cena saying that he would want to fight him for the championship. I mean, that's kind of a wet dream that I have for next week's Madison Square Garden show. Maybe we get Punk versus Cena one more time. I know that we already got it for what we thought was the last time, but something's got to happen in the Garden. And I don't think it's just going to be him standing on, side by side with some people saying that he wants to fight now and he doesn't want to wait until War Games. But, Cena's last trip to Boston. I know that I used to be really good friends with the Boston brothers, who lived there. I'm really hoping that they are able to go to the show. I think a few months ago, I saw that ticket prices were just out of this world, and I completely understand. I didn't even want to go to a normal Monday Night Raw, not even like a Raw that Cena was booked on, because of the fact that prices were so high. I haven't been to the last two. I didn't go to the Raw before WrestleMania, and I didn't go to this last one just a few weeks ago. TKO is just I don't want to say they're pricing us out of the market, because I don't want to make it seem like I can't afford these tickets. I'm going to an Eric Church concert on Thursday. I went to Morgan Wallen a few months ago, and those guys come to town. I'm going to pay whatever it costs, because I mean, for most musical acts, you're going to be lucky if you see them every year if they come to your town. A lot of musical acts you're only going to see like every other year because of how big their tours are. And I don't want to say that a lot of the people out there, like, you're never going to see them again. It's not like Paul McCartney or somebody like that. I said Paul McCartney because my buddy went and saw him in Atlanta the other day with his dad. But like, guys like that, you never know who you're going to see. But relatively, most acts going, they're not going to be pulling a Garth Brooks and say, "I'll see you in 10 years." So we'll pay whatever it costs for that. But wrestling, when you can see it on TV, I don't know, you don't feel it the same. And you honestly have that wish of when you're watching it, like, oh shoot, this is down the street. I could have been there. The tournament matches that were announced for Monday Night Raw, the last time is now tournament first round matches, where we had 2 matches drawn. They had like a random drawing in the back where it looked like each competitor had like an orb inside of the ball. It's a new age Royal Rumble machine. I want to see them bring this machine back for the Royal Rumble. I don't need like live drawings, but I need like reactions of wrestlers pulling their ball, looking at it and being like, it's gonna be a long night, brother. And you're like, oh shoot, they drew a really low number. Something like that. The little touches back to like the late, or I guess that would be the early 90s, late 80s. That stuff would make the world. They've got this machine sitting back there. The numbers could have, red and blue balls on them because of the fact that's what they were using on Monday. But bring this back, please. We had 2 matches drawn at random that were announced that are going to take place this Monday. I believe this Friday. I don't think they're kicking this tournament off, but I think they're going to pick 4 more names for 2 more matches that will take place next Friday on SmackDown. And so I think we'll probably get 2 more balls before, I guess 4 more balls. That'd be 4, 8. and that'll be the end of the first round for Monday Night Raw matches. And then more than likely, when SmackDown is going on next week, we'll get the last 4 names that are going to be there. I'm guessing that that's where we're going to get our surprise entrance. I don't know if it's just going to be NXT people. I threw this out right when I heard this was like Matt Cardona coming back, wanting to have one more dream match with this, personal friend, John Cena. Cardona mentions him on the um, major wrestling figure podcast from time to time that they text. I think Cena's kind of a personal guy that, like, his personal time is personal time, and he doesn't want it being put out there to the world, even though he did shows like Total Divas and Total Bellas. And I think by watching those shows, you could see that he honestly hated them, but he knew that he was doing them for Nikki, and he was doing them for the company to make money at the time. But the first matches didn't really blow me away. First match on the card is going to be Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura. When I think of Sheamus, I think of Sheamus versus John Cena in the early 2010s, right before the Nexus hit there. Of course, Sheamus, I think in 2009, won the WWE Championship at TLC, and so more of a fluke. On Monday Night Raw, that was one of the guest hosts. Jesse Ventura had come back, and part of his gimmick was in the finale. He drew up, he wanted the next number 1 contender for Monday Night Raw to be somebody who never got a championship shot. He wanted to shake up the deck. He basically thought that WWE had gotten a little stale, and it was only people in a battle royal that had never got a championship shot. So, people like Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, the guys like that were out of there. And it was just like, whatever happens, TLC, we're going to get a new competitor. It's going to be somebody that, is fresh, that probably hasn't had a match against John Cena before. During that match, of course, I think Cena slipped trying to give a move to Sheamus. And because of the fact he went through the table, that's the rules. Sheamus is your new WWE champion. Shinsuke Nakamura is his competition. When I think of Shinsuke, honestly, I think it was probably like 2017. I think it was around the time, honestly, I was getting out. He was fresh coming over from New Japan. They had some matches on SmackDown. I think one of them was a number 1 contenders match for the winner to get a championship shot. I think the match was at SummerSlam, but I'm not 100% sure, because I know Shinsuke won the Royal Rumble to fight AJ at WrestleMania 30. It was in New Orleans, 34. I'm guessing. So I'm not sure how he got his championship shots after that, but I think Shinsuke turns heel at WrestleMania, punching AJ Styles right in the nuts. So maybe it's a little bit later, because I think Shinsuke had turned babyface yet once again, because Shinsuke versus Cena was kind of like a respect match, good guy versus good guy. But these guys getting into the ring and battling it out to see who moves on in this tournament. Shinsuke is a wild card. He just made his return. He hasn't really done anything on SmackDown relatively in a long while. He seems like somebody who's just showing up to be a name. Sheamus is like in some storylines on Raw, but nothing honestly really huge. And it seems like his current storyline is fighting against the Judgment Day. He ran out and helped. I think he ran out and helped during the tag match, if I'm right, against Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I think he came out and helped AJ and Dragon Lee. And that's kind of like a spot to put him. Like, I guess we're setting up a 6-man that doesn't really have any where to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, win, lose, or draw. It's not really going to help anything in the foreseeable future. So I'm looking at Sheamus. I'm looking at Shinsuke. I guess I'm picking Sheamus to get the win here, taking the baby face. He has a better storyline against John Cena. If I'm picking like a tournament of like Cena's greatest rivals, I'm picking Sheamus. I don't know. I mean, we all know that some sort of heel has to win this tournament. I guess in the end, not really, because it's got to be a respect match in the end. But I think everything that we're reading is going to be something about a heel, beating John Cena. And I don't think anybody wants to see Cena lose that last match. Look over at the other first round match. We have Damian Priest going up against Rusev. Man, Damian Priest, that long running rivalry with John Cena. They've got so many matches that pour over their careers. They've got that one and the other one. Yeah, this one honestly really doesn't make any sense to me either. Um, I just don't get this one. Rusev, they had the really big storyline at WrestleMania 31. Rusev came to the ring in a freaking tank. A tank. Like, I don't understand that one at all. Rusev got the win over John Cena, winning the United States title. They had different, gimmick matches along the way. One of my favorites from the 80s, the old-fashioned flag match. At that time when Rusev would win, the Bulgarian flag would fall down behind him. They would play the national anthem. It was a great time. Rusev now, he's in storylines on Monday Night Raw. I listened to Dave Meltzer and the clips that they upload to YouTube, like most days, going over what happened on Monday Night Raw. I don't listen to the full shows. I'm not a subscriber, but they upload those things as like a commercial trying to get you to come back. And there's been a few times they've almost got me, but I've heard a few clips that Rusev is taking like personal shots from Dave Meltzer for I don't understand any reason at all. I don't listen to the full Raw recap, so I don't know if he does this to every single person. But every single time I've heard him talk about Rusev, he talks about the fact that he's not over. Nothing that he's doing in WWE means anything. He's kind of just like lost, looking for a place to go. Rusev isn't the best or most important person on Monday Night Raw, but since they've dropped him into storylines, I honestly think that Rusev has a place. He's fighting to regain the Intercontinental Championship. His storyline is that he's trying to regain his place in wrestling. He's trying to be relevant. Yet once again, he's taking a shot at himself, saying that he has taken a step back, and he's trying to get back to where he was. When I look at this match, like, I believe Damian Priest moving up into this tournament honestly means more to like the future of WWE. This guy's a former world heavyweight champion, but the guy has no connection to John Cena. The only thing that can happen is that possibly have some sort of a second round match. I don't know if you want to bring up him going up against Aleister Black. There was a main event of SmackDown a few weeks ago, and we haven't seen them together since that happened. But as of right now, I think I'm forced to pick Rusev. I'm not in love with the pick, but I really think that like I don't know. Damian Priest in this tournament is an ultimate wild card. I understand that maybe when you're a former world heavyweight champion, you can pull some strings backstage with your GM. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. While Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce would say like, yeah, this is the guy that we want going in there. But then again, if the name that gets pulled is the rumored one, Gunther, who's going to win this whole deal, Gunther doesn't have any claim to fame with John Cena either. So another match that's going down is going to be a women's World Heavyweight Championship. We have Stephanie Vaquer putting the title on the line against Raquel Rodriguez. I'm for watching any Stephanie Vaquer match that ever pops up along the way. But this one honestly doesn't make any sense at all. If the Judgment Day won their match, they would be given a World Heavyweight Championship shot against Stephanie Vaquer. But it was Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella going up against Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. It was Roxanne Perez who pinned Nikki Bella. Stephanie Vaquer didn't get pinned. Stephanie Vaquer didn't take the L. And then when it really comes down to it, the person getting the championship shot, Raquel Rodriguez, she's not even the one who was involved in the finish. So is this something that, they're brewing up with the Judgment Day backstage? Because Roxanne, since coming to the Judgment Day, we've all painted her as the bad person in this group. But I think that honestly, she's just been looking for her place on Monday Night Raw. She's trying to find her footing and just trying to be friends with everybody. Just like the first day she showed up in the Judgment Day's room, we all thought that she was trying to steal Dominic Mysterio, but in the long run, I think she's just been doing what everybody wants her to do. Raquel Rodriguez, honestly, is a true competitor with her size and her strength to go up against Stephanie Vaquer. Um, let's just talk about what I think is going to happen in this match. Because I would not be surprised if Nikki Bella is somehow involved in this match. We had last week Nikki Bella going up to Stephanie Vaquer, apologizing for losing the match because now Stephanie has to put the championship on the line. Nikki Bella is saying that she's not at the quality of she's not the quality of competitor that she thought she was. She can't live it up with these young women in the women's division. She feels like she's, holding Stephanie Vaquer back. And Stephanie's like, no, you're a legend. You're the reason why we're here. You've been doing everything right. She's basically saying that she would take on Raquel and she would win, and she wasn't really worried about it. So I think that Nikki Bella thinks that she owes Stephanie Vaquer a favor. I think just like me, I think everybody else sees that Nikki Bella is going to stab Stephanie Vaquer in the back. I think it's going to lead to a Nikki Bella versus Stephanie Vaquer match. Then the only problem is like the legend Nikki Bella as a heel, when she loses to Stephanie Vaquer, where does she go from there? Do they just basically say like, hey, thank you for the last few months, give her a vacation to get her off of the road, bring her back in 4 months and act like nothing happened and just have her be a baby face out there yet once again? I don't think people are going to forget. But what I'm looking for into this match, I think that Nikki Bella is going to come down to the ring. I think she's going to cause some sort of a disqualification to get this match honestly thrown out. This isn't the match that we all want to see. If we're going to see a women's championship match with Stephanie Vaquer against the Judgment Day, I think we want it to be against Raquel Perez. So I think Nikki's going to get this match thrown out, but in the process, she's going to basically do something to upset Stephanie Vaquer, accidental. I don't see Nikki coming out with a chair shot, but and her rack attack, I think that's kind of a hard finisher to put on the wrong person. But maybe she's gonna punch Stephanie or kick her or something like that in the face, knock her out. Something where Nikki is like, oh, I did the wrong thing here. What I think is going to be the main event of the show is we have the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss putting the titles on the line against the Kabuki Warriors. Kabuki Warriors last week, they beat the team of Bailey as well as Bird Girl, Lyra Valkyrie. Man, I barely each and every week I've been watching wrestling. I've been noticing Lyra for the last year. Can never get her name right. I have to say the words Bird Girl in order to remember her name. I got no personal vendetta against her. I think that the more I see her, it proves that she is a good wrestler. She just doesn't connect with me yet. Maybe because I didn't see her NXT run or something like that. But the Kabuki Warriors, they got the win. A few weeks ago, they ran the Asuka 10 years of being in WWE video, showing the highlights of her winning the WWE Championship, winning the NXT Championship, winning a Money in the Bank, winning a Royal Rumble. It really portrayed her as like a main event WWE wrestler. It really put her over as a the true member of this team, but it also made her portrayed as somebody who was going to win the women's championship sooner or later. So I'm really wondering if the Kabuki Warriors' true storyline, objective is to win the tag titles, or is it to insert Asuka into a feud with Stephanie Vaquer fighting for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship? I know that we're coming up on the Royal Rumble. We're not quite there yet, but we got to remember a returning Liv Morgan. We got to remember um, Rhea Ripley, who I don't even think we've seen in about a month. And before then, she was just like wandering around backstage. She did have one match before she disappeared. I think it was against Asuka, fighting with Io Sky, another person that's probably going to be in the women's title picture. Is basically WrestleMania going to be the Monday Night Raw women's division in sort of like a six-pack challenge or something like that? Because they got one belt and they honestly seem like they've got 5 or 6 number one contenders that are going to be coming for that thing. My pick as of right now to win the Royal Rumble, just to throw it out there, is um, Roxanne Perez. I think that Liv Morgan is going to come back at the Rumble. I think it's going to be a big story, but I think that is when we're actually going to see Roxanne stab Liv in the back, basically as just a chance to be the top girl in Judgment Day. We all thought it was going to be over Dominic Mysterio, but I think it's going to be over that number one contendership to go to WrestleMania. But at this match right here, Charlotte Flair and Alexa have been honestly a really good team. The storyline that we thought they were going to have when they won the women's championship was if they were going to be friends, would they be able to find a way to be together? Was this something that was connected to the Wyatt Six, where Alexa was going to put Charlotte Flair under some spell? And this team just turned out like to be friendly and just not have a problem with each other yet at all. So I'm not quite sure. I could go either way. Like this is like a coin flip match for me, but I'm picking the Kabuki Warriors. I just think that they have a hotter reason to be going after the title. Charlotte and Alexa, where they go from here, I think they kind of get lost in the shuffle over on SmackDown. SmackDown's women's champion is shoot. Who is holding the belt over on SmackDown? Tiffany just lost it to Jade. So maybe they would want to free up Charlotte and Alexa to go up in singles matches. Maybe they could even still be friendly, but have singles matches to go up against Jade. Not quite sure, but I'm going to be putting my money on the Kabuki Warriors. When this Monday Night Raw is all said and done, I think we're going to be looking forward to the Madison Square Garden show, the next appearance for John Cena. I'm really hoping that Cena wrestles on both of these shows. I think that honestly, I might be holding my breath on those. I'm not quite sure what they got going on with those, but I am not ready for the end of John Cena. I will tell you the truth. Um, that guy was awesome. He was everything, and I think this Boston show might be one of the times I really realize that it's coming to an end next month, Saturday night's main event. Peace out, guys.